Heyo, and what is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me here again on the channel tonight. It is Friday morning, November the 10th, and you are here for part number 1 of your Wrestling Weekend Update. We have got a Roman Reigns return rumor killer that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, both being sent home from the UK tour, and the news on that, and 2 names exiting Impact Wrestling, one of them on their way to the WWE. We got all that to talk about right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So, let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is my tag team partner and the World Heavyweight Champion of microphones, Blue the Snowball. Thank you for joining us here for the first part of our weekend update. You know, not every week is going to be a multi-parter, but there is tons and tons of news that we have got to discuss with you guys here today. Don't forget, if it's your first time checking us out, to hit that subscribe button and join the Sledgehammer Club today. And once you do that, don't forget to hit the ring bell right next to the subscribe. The word that says subscribe has a little tiny bell next to it. Smash that bell. This way you will always be notified every time a video just like this one drops, the very second that it does. Like this video, share this video with your wrestling friends, and don't forget, while you're here, to check out Clutch Chairs, my sponsor. The link will be down in the description below. All it takes is about 5 seconds. Click the link. Check out all the WWE Superstar merchandise that they have there. They have some pretty badass looking chairs. They got some computer desks. Maybe you're in the market for something like that. Use my link below. Take advantage of what they got going on. Black Friday's coming up. Who knows what they're going to have in store as far as sales go. Maybe you can get your hands on one of these pretty sweet chairs. I'm certainly going to try to do so myself. So check them out. I would greatly appreciate it, and we thank you very much for all your support. So now let's get into what we got to talk about today. And we're going to start off with the Impact Wrestling news, because we don't really talk much about Impact anymore. Nobody really does. It's a shame what's going on over there. They're actually having to pay people. They are paying extras to fill the crowd at Impact Wrestling, which is just an absolute embarrassment. You barely have enough money to pay the talent. That is why most of them are leaving, but you're paying strangers to attend the event. I mean, hey, if I could get paid to go and watch some wrestling, whether or not it's good or bad, who cares? I'm getting some money in my pocket, right? I'm going to have a night out. I'm going to see some wrestling. Maybe not the best wrestling in the world, but, you know, why not take advantage of something like that? I don't blame anybody for jumping in on that. But Rockstar Spud and now James Storm have severed ties with TNA, Impact Wrestling, GFW, Anthem Wrestling, Owl Wrestling, whatever the hell you want to call these people now. They are irrelevant. They are completely irrelevant, and the fact that all these talents are exiting is more proof of just that. James Storm, who knows what his future entails? He had a little hiccup. You know, he had a cup of coffee in NXT in 2015 where everybody got all excited. You know, Bobby Roode was still not debuted yet on the roster, and, you know, you had the possibility of a reuniting of Beer Money at that point in time, and I was all over it. But James Storm would not stick around. He would, for some strange reason, see too many zeros on his check, I guess, and decided to re-sign with TNA, and that decision has led him to this weekend, where he has decided once again to leave that company. Who knows if he ends up back here? He certainly is familiar with the Performance Center. He is familiar with NXT. He does have, I guess, open communication with the WWE, so it is not beyond the realm of possibility to see the Cowboy back in NXT sometime soon, which I certainly hope, because he was fantastic. Former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He beat Kurt Angle for that first ever World Heavyweight Championship. He did, however, lose it to Bobby Roode just a short 8 days later, when TNA was still somewhat good and worth watching, at least for me. But the bigger news comes from the smaller guy As Rockstar Spud, one of the people that actually grated on my nerves to no end in TNA. I did not like his character. He used to aggravate me, but I believe that was what his job was. So I'm pretty sure he's pretty good at what he does. He's not bad in the ring. I've seen him with Mandrews in the ring in TNA. You know, he was Dixie Carter's little lapdog for a while. And I just never really thought that Rockstar Spud would be getting a chance in the WWE at all. I just thought he was among some of the worst stuff I was watching on TNA at the time. But obviously they see something in him, as the WWE has officially announced they have signed Rockstar Spud, and he is going to go straight to 205 Live, to the Cruiserweight division. I don't know if they really think he's a big enough name to create an impact, but they definitely need more bodies over there. He fits the description, and he is actually very good. He's good on the microphone. Whether or not he's going to annoy us here, I don't know. If they're going to allow him to be anything like what he was on TNA would probably be highly unlikely, you know, because of trademarking and things like that, and maybe they just want to distance themselves from anything that was TNA, which I don't blame them. But Rockstar Spud, coming to 205 Live. I don't know when, but I imagine it will be sometime soon, because the deal is signed, sealed, and delivered, and I can only hope that James Storm follows suit. In our next story, we're going to talk about somebody I don't like talking about, but there's been so much talk about him that we have to address it here, and that is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was removed from the last pay-per-view where we were going to have the Shield reunion and replaced by Kurt Angle. He has not been seen on TV since then. He has gotten the mumps, supposedly, or the viral meningitis, whichever one it is. Some sort of virus has kept this man off television. And they put Jason Jordan in this match. He was always the plan B, apparently, and due to their concerns on whether or not Roman will truly be ring ready by the time of Survivor Series, he was removed from that matchup. But besides all the speculation and all the rumors going around right now saying that Roman Reigns isn't going to be ready in time for Survivor Series, that could not be further from the truth. It is now confirmed that Roman Reigns has been cleared to return to the ring from the viral infection that had been going around the WWE locker room, according to PW Insider. Reigns last wrestled on the October 16th episode of Monday Night Raw, losing in a steel cage match to Braun Strowman. He was forced to miss the WWE TLC pay-per-view and big reunion of the Shield due to the infection. As noted, Reigns will make his return to TV next Monday on the Go Home show for Survivor Series, and it has also been confirmed that the Shield versus the New Day is going to be announced on Monday night's show. And that's fine. I just think that it's ridiculous for them to have taken the titles off of Rollins and Ambrose just to have a special attraction match with Raw's dominant faction and SmackDown's dominant faction going one-on-one in this brand warfare, Survivor Series, whatever the hell you want to call it, bragging rights, whatever. I really don't have an opinion on it one way or the other. I mean, there was going to be a match with Roman Reigns in it. As much as I'm not a Roman guy, I wanted him, or would have rather seen him, in this Raw vs. SmackDown 5-on-5. Jason Jordan does nothing for this match. Especially with the addition of John Cena, you would have loved to have seen Reigns on the other side. That's a star-studded match. That is a mega Survivor Series encounter. But with the addition of one man, you've made it an kind of show. Can you imagine everything they could have built up had Roman not gotten sick? If that was their final initial plan for the Survivor Series match, it's just so much better to me. But now we're going to get this 3-on-3 faction warfare, the New Day versus the Shield. However, it wouldn't surprise me if in the 11th hour, right before Monday Night Raw, something goes down where they decide to take out, SmackDown can eliminate Jason Jordan in a pre-Survivor Series attack, or even possibly on the following night's SmackDown Live, and then have that spot available, insert the returning Roman Reigns into that spot, and then allow Rollins and Ambrose to just have a standard tag team match against the New Day, trying to regain vengeance for what has happened to them. Sheamus and Cesaro will fight the Usos. Still, as far as I know, there is no word on the condition of Jey Uso, who, looked to be pretty damn hurt as we were going through SmackDown Live last week. Wish I had an update on that, but unfortunately we do not. And that is not, again, that's not beyond the realm of possibility. Let's be honest. They can definitely decide to pull the trigger on changing Roman Reigns and putting him into that Survivor Series match, which I would prefer. And then you could have Rollins and Ambrose versus some pairing of the New Day with the other one on the outside. It's effectively the same thing. I mean, you're not doing anything bad by making that happen. I would much rather see that than what we're actually seeing. A feud and a blow-off match between two factions that just started. It literally happened a week ago, and Roman Reigns wasn't even a part of any of it. So now they got to bring in the big dog to get their revenge. Is that what the story we're trying to do? I don't know. I'm just not too interested in it. But Roman Reigns will be there Monday night on Raw. Do not listen to anything else that you hear. He is cleared and he is ready to go, and we're going to see it in a couple of days. And finally, in our top story for this episode, Pro Wrestling Sheet has reported that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went against creative direction given to them before SmackDown on Tuesday night. I do that all the time. Whenever we do these Friday shows, I reference SmackDown on Thursday. I think it's just because too many years SmackDown Live. It wasn't SmackDown Live, it was SmackDown on Thursday. My brain just does that. I apologize. And what they did on SmackDown led to them being sent home. And this came straight from the top as they pissed off Vince McMahon right from the get-go by pulling the shenanigans that they decide to pull, which to the naked eye you would never even notice. The match that they had on SmackDown seemed to go off without a hitch, but that was not the case. Multiple sources are reporting that Sami and Kevin were supposed to feed for the New Day following Zayn versus Kofi Kingston Tuesday night, but for some reason they didn't follow those directions and left the ring. For those of you that don't know what feeding is a term that is defined as the heel's role during a comeback by the babyface, where he continuously attacks the babyface and is the aggressor, but the babyface fends him off at every turn with hopes that you are going to get the babyface over in this scenario. That is obviously not what happened. You saw what happened. Kevin Owens hit the ring and attacked Kofi Kingston, which was part of the plan. But then he and Sami Zayn quickly bailed from the ring. The New Day then stood in the ring, seemingly waiting for them to return. And their music did not hit, as you would assume, on the cue of them walking away, as if the sound guys in the back were waiting for something else to happen. And it did kind of end awkwardly when you go back and watch it a second time. And they just seemingly went off script and not take their planned beating after the match. Since this story broke, Owens and Zayn have effectively been sent home, and they have been reportedly difficult to work with as of late and seem very unhappy backstage. It's worth noting that the reasons for that could be because of the recent firing of their very close friend Jimmy Jacobs and the whole entire situation with another very close friend of theirs being Neville, which is probably getting under their skin, and it's making them very irritable and uncooperative, and I don't understand what is going on over there. Why these type of things are happening in a company like the WWE. It baffles me. It's beyond my imagination how such a big and professional company can allow things like this to go down, where you have talent effectively protesting live on television, not going with the plan, is one of the worst things you could kind of do, because as much as they suck at telling stories, there is a story they are trying to tell here. And whether or not it made sense to Sami and Kevin doesn't really matter. It should have been executed the way the company wants it. They are your employers. You're supposed to follow the rules. And you could voice your complaints after the fact. Where this is all coming from, who knows? And I'm afraid that, the WWE likes to prove that they are the end-all, be-all. You know what I mean? They like to prove that nobody gets the one-up on Vince and the gang in creative, and I am kind of afraid of the future for these two, and it's definitely possible that they could make an example out of them. I don't think they would release them, but nor do I think they would actually, go out and announce that they've been suspended in some way, but there will be ramifications of some sort for these two, whether it's just being not on TV for a while, whether their roles get diminished even more than they are. I was actually liking what they were doing by not including them on the SmackDown Live team and making them like a pesky gnat on the outside that you just don't really know when they're going to come in and mess with things, if they're going to have an impact on the Survivor Series match, being that they feel like they're outcasts and brushed aside by management on SmackDown. Their personal vendetta with Shane McMahon, is that going to come into play? These are all big things going on right now that seemingly are at risk of being totally dropped, because these two guys went off the handle, off the script, and decided to go into business for themselves to make a point or to voice a grievance. I don't know. There's not much more about this that has come out since then. And we're going to have to wait and see what kind of damage these guys did to themselves by pulling these shenanigans. You don't hear this kind of stuff every day, especially when pertaining to the WWE. But I'm very surprised by this, and I'm very nervous about what the future might hold for these guys because of this. But it was worth mentioning. It's something that we have to talk about, because I just can't believe it. I can't believe that these are two guys that I would consider to be amongst the most professional people on the roster. But I guess the frustration level is at an all-time high. And who could blame them? Look at the kind of stuff that we're getting on TV every single week. Can you blame these guys for being mad? And then the WWE fires their good friend for taking a picture with some other friends outside of the arena one night. And everything that's happened with Neville, who is very, very close with Sami Zayn, and I believe also with Kevin Owens. So they're taking all that to heart, and they're wearing it on their sleeve, I guess, and they're not caring. So you know what? We're not going to get beat up by the New Day tonight. The New Day don't need to look great at our expense. That's bullshit writing. Maybe that was their mind frame. Maybe their mind frame was just, hey, listen, we're going to take a stand and show these guys that we're mad, and we'll deal with the consequences as they come. But like I said, as more news on this breaks, we will be here to bring it to you with our coffee and everything. So, thank you guys for joining us for this edition of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, part number 1. We're not going to do everything all in one because there's just so much to talk about. I'll be sitting here for over an hour. So we're going to break things up. This has been part 1. Don't forget to check out part number 2. We have got big news on Daniel Bryan and his need to get back in the ring, and how he is trying to get back in the ring as we speak right now. And also, we are having an update news on Emma. Some pretty big, interesting stuff to talk about. What she's asking for on the independent scene, and where she's been talking to about her return. We're going to go over some of that stuff. And also the WWE filing a new trademark, which seems to be leading to a new show, which I can imagine will be coming to the WWE Network. We are going to talk about all that on part number 2, coming at you later today or early tomorrow. As far as this show is over, and I want to thank you guys so much for checking us out and being part of the crew. My name is Nick Nightmare. This, as I told you, is Blue, the Snowball Microphone, the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones. Thanking everybody once again for joining me. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.